President Trump's longtime associate Roger Stone was in federal court today, where he pleaded not guilty to 7 counts brought against him by special counsel Robert Mueller. Stone did not speak to reporters at today's appearance, but has previously said he plans to fight those charges. This all comes as the acting attorney general, Matthew Whitaker, said Monday that Mueller's investigation is almost over.
I am comfortable that the decisions that were made are going to be reviewed, either through the various means we have. But right now, the investigation is, I think, close to being completed, and I hope that we can get the report from Director Mueller as soon as possible.
Okay, let's bring in CBSN legal contributors Keir Duggal and Rebecca Roiphe. Keir is a former assistant U.S. attorney in New York's Eastern District, and Rebecca is a former assistant district attorney for the New York County District Attorney's Office. Welcome to you both. Welcome to the Hub. I like saying that. Keir, let me start with you, because I want to talk about the Matthew Whitaker comments in just a moment, but let's start with Roger Stone. He pleaded not guilty today to 7 counts. What do you see happening next here?
Well, the party's going to get ready for a trial. If he intends to fight this, as he says publicly, then there will be a trial. 70 days is the sort of first control date. That may be extended. If Mr. Mueller brings additional charges, that may be extended further.
So our Chief Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Begay reports there is a possibility, Rebecca, of a superseding indictment. Walk us through what that means and what exactly that is. What could it mean for the Mueller investigation?
Well, it's basically a fancy way of saying bringing extra charges. So the question that's on everybody's mind is that indictment really only charged obstruction and witness tampering, lying. So the question is, are there more charges to come? Is there something closer to conspiracy or conspiracy to defraud the United States? And that just remains to be seen. And if there are charges, he may use that as a way to force Stone to flip, or he could just bring it and then proceed to trial.
So, I mean, how serious are these charges for Roger Stone and potentially for the president?
The charges that are already there are very serious for Roger Stone. These are serious process crimes, and people, keep having their eye on the collusion. But, obstruction of justice is a very, very serious crime. Witness tampering is a very, very serious crime. The question is, in that indictment, it says that somebody directed a high-up campaign official to coordinate with Roger Stone, and we need to know who that person is. If it is the president or somebody else close to the president, it could pose greater serious risk for the president.
All right, let's turn to the acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. His comments, which were extremely, I think, surprising to say the least. It's not often we hear this kind of time frame, even in a vague sense like that, put out. Let me start with you, Kier. What did you think when you heard those comments from the acting Attorney General putting some kind of time frame on the Mueller investigation?
I thought he was off. There was potentially at the trial we just talked about that could be a couple of months down the road. There were 2 searches that were executed in connection with Mr. Stone's arrest. There's going to be a whole, trove of evidence, tranche that the prosecutors are going to have to go through. Could result in more charges. There are a number of transcripts in Congress that, as I understand it, have not been released to Special Counsel Mueller's office yet. So there are all these investigative leads, sources of evidence that the Mueller team is going to want to look at that they haven't had a chance to fully explore. It's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while. What do you think, Rebecca?
Well, first of all, I think it was totally inappropriate for him to make that comment. This is an ongoing investigation, and even just speaking about the timing of an investigation can be seriously damaging to an investigation. I mean, there are witnesses out there who may be thinking, should I cooperate, should I not cooperate? And the fact that it's wrapping up may have an impact on them, and that's really not good information to get out there. Second of all, I think the main problem here is that we have an acting attorney general who's compromised. He's compromised first by his public statements about the Mueller investigation and also about his refusal to take the Ethics Council advice and recuse. And therefore, we don't know whether this statement was actually a reflection of what's going on in the Mueller probe or effort to bully Mueller into ending his probe. And so that's concerning because we need to have faith in our institutions in order for them to work.
And what about this part of his statement? Because the acting attorney general also said, quote, Mueller's decisions will be reviewed through the various means we have. What does that sound like to you, Rebecca?
Well, first of all, I think that his statements were a little bit Trump-like in that, it left us trying to diagram sentences. Like, what was he actually trying to say? And
what did he mean by that?
What did he mean by anything? Everybody's sort of gone chasing. But there are a couple of possibilities. Either he meant, which I think is very concerning, is that it will give Congress a chance to look at the times at which he basically vetoed what it was that Mueller wanted to do, leading us to think, did he veto something that Mueller wanted to do?
Right.
So that's concerning. Maybe what he meant was the normal processes, namely the courts, impeachment processes, things like that, which are the proper processes, but we have no way of knowing what exactly he meant by that statement, and it does leave us a little concerned, especially because the whole legitimacy of his position is in doubt.
Right, many, many open questions. All right, Keir, Duggal, and Rebecca Roiphe, thanks to you both.
Thank you.